Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Virtual Art Expression, where we have a bunch of wonderful, beautiful, and talented individuals who will be sharing their artistic process as it pertains to a lot of the injustice that's been happening a lot more pertinently as of late. And so it's going to be a night of creative expression. We have some original music from some amazing musicians, my friend Jonathan, Christian, and Julian. Then we have some amazing dancers. We're going to have Jazel, Adriana, Sarah, and my friend Claude Michelle sharing their movement talents with us. Then we'll have my friend Cloudly Destiny sharing a inspiring poetry piece. And throughout this whole time, myself, and my friend Alyssa will be doing a visual piece for you guys, which is why you see the easels posted up for you guys to see our live process. And once we finish with the creative aspect of it, we will be discussing some common issues. And this is going to be like a different type of conversation. It's not going to be the same redundant conversation that has no plan or solution, but really a call to action. And so we hope that you enjoy the show. For those of you who found out about us through social media, we are actively doing a raffle. And so we have a Kickstarter that I will add to the comment below. And as you donate to this Kickstarter, then you will be entered in a raffle to win some original paintings. We also have some sessions, a one-on-one session with a writer, a one-on-one session with a dancer, and a one-on-one session for personal training. And so to enter the raffle, we ask that you make a minimum donation of $50. And just so that we have your information, please just on either Facebook or Instagram, follow us or message us to let us know that you've entered, and so that we have your contact information so that we can get you your prizes accordingly. And so again, we thank you and we hope that you're ready to enjoy this wonderful creative night.
America is lucky that we are not a vengeful people. We are a peaceful people. For 400 years, they lynched us and made us watch, castrated our men and made us watch, raped our women and made us watch. They bred our children like dogs and made us watch. They beat us till our black backs bore bones and made us watch. And still, in 2020, they are murdering us in broad daylight and making us watch. Well, today, we are done watching. They have pushed a peaceful, loving, forgiving, and beautiful people past their breaking point. The levees are broken. And to that, I say bring the flood. We will fight with our protests. We will fight with our votes. And we will fight with our black dollars. We will use our voice and we will cry and we will shout and we will scream and we will not let up until real change is made. Our children will not grow up in the same America that we did. They can no longer railroad us into their prison systems. They cannot falsely convict us of crimes we did not commit. They cannot leave Black and brown babies off the agenda for educational attainment. We want prison reform, and we want proper health care for our communities. George Floyd was murdered for a fake $20 bill. It is clear that they do not value Black life, and we no longer trust this system to police our communities. We got us. Systemic racism is not a contrived effort by a few bad apples. The apple tree is not the problem. White supremacy is built into the very fabric of this country. It's in the very soil that the apple tree pulls its nutrients from. We cannot destroy racism until we dismantle the whole system. They will not stifle our liberation by making us think that we are powerless. We are no longer struggling for our freedom. Liberation is here. Liberation is now. her power to grow life inside her. Wondrous woman she is. Imagine womb and rooms full of breath and hearts to love. Life born from her body be budding brilliant, bequeathing black beauty. Her legacy will be drenched in the promise of when they are old and not depart from it. She will teach Jesus and God and spirit to tiny ears. Little knees will bend beside her, and worship and prayer will come out of the mouths of her babes. Out of the mouths of her babes. Rest in peace, the babe. And we give love to every Black woman who's ever had to bury her babes.
Before we start into discussion, everybody's going to go around and share their names, their profession, and why they chose to participate in this event here today. So I'll go first. My name is Nikah. I'm an expressive art therapist, and I was moved to do this event because I feel like there's a big lack of compassion and love, and that is the root of why there's so much injustice going on and has been going on for years. And so I feel like there's so much healing powers in the arts. And so with that, I felt this was the best way to properly convey that hurt, that pain, and to have people see how it is possible to process through the pain in a healthy way. And so I feel that as artists, we have a calling and a duty to be able to communicate things that are difficult to engage in conversation is normally, and art presents that in a non-threatening way. And so I felt that this virtual art expression and everyone coming in together to communicate that would be best fitting. And so next, let's have Jazel share.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jazel Sarate. I'm a dancer, a personal trainer, and Pilates instructor. And I'm here with Cloud. Say hi. I really wanted to participate in this event because I reached out to Nikah because I was really interested in what she was doing with her work as an expressive arts therapist. I think at the moment, mental health is really a vital thing to be aware of and to be caring for. And you know, there's a lot of heartbreak and a lot of trauma and pain that's going on in the world, and we have to really be able to tune into a lot of healing at the moment, but also just spreading love and spreading compassion and reevaluating where our lives are at this moment, so we can just all come together and, you know, share love with each other, because that is very, very much needed. And next we will have Alyssa.
My name is Alyssa, and I am a mental health counselor. And I joined in on this just because, you know, I think that everybody does have a seat at the table of addressing these injustices that are happening. No matter who you are, you know, everybody can have a seat and everybody can participate. And kind of echoing what people have said, that the arts are healing and they're safe, and it's a place for expression. So yeah, I'm just joining in, engaging in these conversations because it's really important. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Claude Michelle. I am a mental health clinician, a dance therapist, and I was really excited and really wanted to participate in this experience just because I think we are all in the midst of healing through crazy pandemics in our lives. And I know that for me, moving, expressing through the arts is the most effective ways for me to heal. So this was important for me to do, and I just wanted other people to actually feel how I feel and to see how there are numerous ways to heal, right? Well, healthy ways to heal. So, and I know that right now that our lives matter in so many different ways, and we just wanted people to understand that. So that's why I'm here. So I will pass it on to Adriana.
I'm a dancer and variety performer based in LA, and I wanted to participate because dance is how I connect with myself, how I connect with love, and I felt really inspired by the cause, and I want to do anything possible to share as much love and beauty in the world because we really need that right now. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Sarah, and I'm a dancer and a fire artist in El Paso, Texas. And I wanted to be a part of this because I was drawn to the idea of collaborating with artists across space despite difference. And I think that it's important in this time to harmonize with each other despite our differences. And I just want to shout out the musicians. The music was amazing. This is the first time that I heard it. And thanks to Art Transfer for all the work that you're doing and all of the artists that were a part of this. And that's all I got.
Hey, what's good, everybody? My name is Clyla Destiny. I am a artist. I do a lot of little things here and there. I'm a filmmaker, an actress, singer, dancer, poet, as you guys got to see today. I did this mostly because Nikah is a really, really good friend of mine. And whatever she asked me to do where I can share my art, I'm always willing to support that. And I think it's very important that we understand how vital love is to our progression as human beings on this earth. And so when she said, let's address where's the love, that's what I'm all about. So that's why I chose to join on, is because I'm just advocating for us to share more love.
Hey guys, my name is Jonathan. I'm an IT recruiter. I'm an oddball. I don't belong here. No, just playing. I'm a musician, have been a musician since I was a kid. In regards to Art Transfer, I was coordinating along with another musician in Tampa, another musician based out of Boston, to put the music together. And the reason why I decided to join and be a part of this is, one, Nikah is a really close friend of mine, and two, I really do believe in the power of art. It's a God-given gift that is of benefit not only to the person who communicates through art, but also to the person who receives through art. So I wanted to be a part of this, I guess, bigger mission. Aside from doing art out of just sheer enjoyment, which of course I enjoy it, but to be a part of this healing process and in a lot of what's going on in our nation. So, yeah.
And so now all of the artists, we're gonna kind of talk a little bit about our process in creating tonight, what was going through our minds, our hearts, and just kind of have a light, try to have a light discussion about this very heavy topic. And so I just kind of want to first and foremost ask Jonathan, because I know that you really helped me a lot with like the music selection and things of that nature. And you mentioned that you chose How to Love. And I just kind of wanted for you to kind of share that with everybody as far as your thought process behind that.
All right, yeah. That song I chose, it was between that and Runaway Love by Ludacris and Mary J. But I chose that song because in the music video, and ironically, it came out close around like 10 years ago, around the same time as Ludacris' song did. But in the video, we see how trauma within a certain family and a misplaced father, the trauma follows this one individual all throughout their life. And we see kind of like a dichotomy. We see two different realities. We see what happens when trauma essentially lays in its roots and the person doesn't know how to cope or deal with it, and the effects of that in the long haul. And then we also see at the end of the video a separate reality that is essentially healing, and the person transcends this trauma, copes with it, and is able to move further beyond what society may have stated or expected or mandated based off of that circumstance. So I thought that that video, I think it speaks very truly to the Black and brown brothers and sisters that are suffering with racial discrimination and prejudice, and especially in Black neighborhoods and families that have been affected by either over-policing or fathers being incarcerated for the wrong reason or losing their life due to gun violence. And that's very prominent within Black culture, unfortunately. And I think this video kind of speaks true to that reality. So being able to express that through music was a pleasure and a challenge, because I really had to face that reality and think, all right, well, now I'm communicating through art, but now what am I going to do in light of this reality and knowing that it's true for millions and millions of other people? So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's real. Can we have one or two people share their process of creating artistically through this? And also, just as a reminder for those of you watching, we do have a raffle going on right now. If you make a minimum donation of $50, you have the option of winning several gifts, to a few original paintings and a few one-on-one session with these lovely artists.
I can just speak for a second about the experience of doing that. After you started showing us the video of George Floyd and some of the people standing up to that, and doing the fire performance in my bedroom, which I've never done before. It was pretty hard to breathe. There was a lot of gas and a lot of heat in there, and through doing that, I couldn't help but think of George Floyd and also of the protesters right now that are being gassed and are fighting anyways. Thanks.
Would one more person like to share?
Go. For me, it was the experience of just watching the movers and then kind of working on the art from there. I didn't realize this, and this is another thing about the arts that is just amazing, but there's so much processing that happens without me even knowing it. And so, like, looking back, I'm like, whoa, this is my process of how I'm like seeing everything now. There was like initial shock, and then there was like this limbo land over here, and then the heaviness of seeing everything in history, and especially like the spoken word piece spoke to that a lot. And then just like this spiral, and then the spiral coming out of hope, and then just realizing that like I had painted people reaching out for one another, which I didn't realize until afterward. But yeah, once again, like having the arts kind of tap into those places that maybe sometimes I'm too scared to go to, and having that like revealed is really powerful, especially engaging with other artists in it too.
Michelle, I saw that you wanted to say something.
No, I think it's always very fascinating with just the process of moving, especially with just the essence of what's going on. So when you think of just healing in a sense of like body, I think in the moment, right, thinking of loss and death, and how do we proceed, or how do we move on to the next steps with that. And I think it's just a matter of like trusting the process, as we always call it. But within my process today, it was just really trying to think of what is my purpose, right? What is my purpose now within these chaos or things that's going on for me, right? To just be a blessing to someone else that needs it. And so I think with moving, I try to obviously first, right, tap into my own inner self, but then really try to, can you hear me? Oh, really try to figure out how can I help others through my movement, right? How can I be a vessel for someone else that is in need in the moment?
We're gonna go into our discussion a little bit deeper. And one of the things I wanna ask you guys, and you can unmute your mics or whatever, we're just gonna have a conversation now, right? So one of the things I wanna ask is, what is your definition of love?
Love is patient. Love is kind.
Okay, love is patient, love is kind.
For me, I think love is about showing compassion, and in showing compassion, often it calls you to put yourself in a uncomfortable, compromising situation for the sake of and well-being of somebody else.
I believe that love is an action. It's really easy to say that you love someone, but can you listen to them? Can you empathize with them? Are you supporting systems that hurt that person? And I think that is really what love is, at least for me. It's the action of recognizing and respecting that person and their needs.
I think that love is filled with balance. I really do feel that it has to have a lot of endurance and really an immense amount of perseverance that come with it. Because I do think that people can actually, and I completely agree, but I absolutely think that sometimes people can fill us with actions, but even then, right, the humility and the loyalty isn't necessarily there. So I do think that it has to have like a balance in that sense, and just filled with so much humility in that sense. Because, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not in front of me, is the love still there?
That's beautiful. So would we all be able to agree that we may feel that love is nuanced? So love has many different nuances to it. So my question that I'm going to pose to you guys is, if there's so many different nuances to love, how do we centralize it? Because it's hard for everyone to see something to put this love into action, right? Because someone said love is an action. So if love for everybody has so many different nuances, love as an action is going to look different to different people in different mediums. So how do we centralize love? Like, what does that look like? How can we call that to action? Maybe a loaded question.
I think, like, I guess just branching off the first question of what I think love is, I think love is something that is unconditional. And when I say unconditional, it means, you know, you see that person for who they are, like no matter what their skin color is or where they live in, or, you know, even what they do, but loving them in a way where, you know, you can see their point of view and know where they come from and acknowledge that, and be able to, I guess, like centralize your love by supporting laws that help them, as opposed to bringing them down constantly.
It's great. Great. Anyone else want to add?
Yeah, I think just hearing what other people were saying, it sounds very cliche and simple, but I think listening really does a lot, because like understanding and also like what your actions look like, it shows how well you listened. And I feel like actions reflect that often, or like if somebody feels seen or understood, I think that all goes back to listening. So it sounds simple, but very profound when it's practiced.
So then where do we go when we have to spread love? Okay, so we talked about the nuances of love, right? We talked about listening. And so what does that look like when we have people from different cultural backgrounds? Like we see even on this live, right? There's so many different beautiful colors here, skin tones here. We all come from different places, right? So how do we go? Is it our responsibility to go out of our way to listen to somebody who doesn't look like us, talk like us, move like us, sound like us, all of the above?
I don't necessarily think it's going out of your way. I just think it's like common human decency. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, like, my ability to listen to someone should not be based off of what they look like, what they sound like, what their gender is, or anything of that nature. I mean, I just feel like that continues to add to what love is. Like, in love being unconditional, love should be, it's kind of like respect. People feel like they're owed respect. And I feel like part of being owed respect is just common decency to extend love and compassion to people, to all people. And it's not necessarily going out of your way to do so. It's just, you know, everybody's life is valuable. The fact that we were created and blessed to be here, that's reason in of itself to be able to just listen, you know. So I don't necessarily think it's a going out of your way thing. I just think it's just normal, natural, should be normal and natural, as opposed to being filled with hate and trying to categorize like, oh, this person looks like me, and so I'm going to listen to them, or, you know, things of that nature.
What about people who grow up in a space where everybody looks like them, talks like them? That's my going out of your way. Like, what if you are the type of person who maybe never has been inside of somebody's house who looks different than you? And if you have, maybe you can count on your one hand how many times, you know? What does that look like? And how do we, because we're saying that love is nuanced, how do we go into other people's space and learn the way that they love?
I think maybe in terms of going out of your way, it's going out of the narrative that you've been taught and being open to hearing what it's like for someone who has a different narrative. And sometimes that does require going outside of what's just been easy for you to access.
Right. That's
I,
beautiful.
I think when you say going out of your way and like going into people's houses, that's a really interesting concept, because there are a lot of people who, you know, have grown up in the same town. They haven't left their hometown like their entire life. And so what they know as reality is kind of just confined to what they have been personally exposed to. But I also think because we are in this virtual world, we also have like so many other windows of exposure where we can utilize that as reaching out to other people that are different than us. Mm-hmm. So even if we do only grow up in the same neighborhood like our entire life, I do feel like there is a shared experience that has never happened before in history. We're all so much more connected, mm-hmm. and a lot of the things that we do as humans have a bigger impact than it would have if we didn't have this space. So I think with that, I feel like there is a responsibility to be human towards the people that you're exposed to in this current space of, connecting with whoever, like all the different types of people that we come across to and interact with virtually as well as in person, because I think that can allow us to shift our perspectives of being like, okay, only the things physically around me are what's reality. But through technology, I think we are able to reach out and connect to people of all different backgrounds. And
this is a testament to that right here.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Okay. One of the things, let me double back. I want to double back to something that Claude Michelle had said, where she was saying in the beginning, she's like, oh, love is patient, love is kind. And I believe you were pulling that from one of the scriptures, I believe it's 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8, where it talks about, it gives the description of love, right? As educators, saying something like love is patient, love is kind, do you think that patience and kindness and gentleness and all of those descriptions in that verse, do you feel like that is a learned skill? Do you feel like patience is a learned skill or gentleness is a learned skill? And how do you incorporate that into your teaching as you're teaching? And do you think that's our responsibility to teach as educators? Or are we just supposed to teach the technique?
I mean, I want to answer, but I kind of feel like I'm talking a lot, so I'll try to keep it short. But I think that naturally, as people who get older and mature, as we were younger, we learned from observing our elders' actions. And so I think that that's an ongoing cycle. And so I do think that is a skill that needs to be learned and learned by practice. And I just think that it's done just in living in it naturally. You know what I mean? And then also when things are, when somebody does not extend kindness or patience or compassion or anything of that nature, I think our duties as people, especially if we're going to love somebody, right? If I see you walking wrongly, if I see you doing something wrong and you looking quote unquote stupid, in loving you, I should be able to tell you like, hey, sis, you might want to wear some deodorant because, you out here just being musty. You know what I mean? And so I feel like using teachable moments to be able to be open and express things that may be uncomfortable sometimes, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, we often steer away from trying to have uncomfortable conversations, but those uncomfortable conversations are needed for growth to happen and for these skills to be able to be executed well.
I think that, right, that essence of nature and nurture, right, where we can be born with something, but then the nurture are things that we actually have to learn, whether it's our culture, schooling, our friends. But I think we have the ability of choice to actually choose the things that we, allow in our lives. But that's also difficult sometimes, and that's where the patience comes in. And so I think even let's say as a Haitian person, right, culturally, I had to learn a lot of patience and just dealing with people and parents overall. But for me, Sunday, you asked, how do I implement it in my practice or in sessions in that sense? But I don't know, for me, it's like, let's say I have a patient that is just, not with it, not about it. They don't necessarily want to do anything or help projecting. I have to actually be patient with that person and really trust that their idea of healing or their timeline of healing is completely different from mine. And I have to wait on them, right? And as much as I'm thinking like, oh, you can get through this, but that's me, right? That's just the way I do things. So I have to actually take myself out of my norm and actually really think about this person and what's going on in their brain and their actuality in the moment, and feel like, okay, you're going through something completely different than I am right now. How can I help you? And that's where the kindness and patience comes in. And so I have to really see this person's life and really ask myself, how can I help you in those two ways? And
That's beautiful. Do you feel like maybe our education system in the traditional sense fails our young people in teaching them the practice of love and breaking it down into all these little subcategories of what that actually looks like in real time?
Absolutely. I think that we're missing a lot of different components and learning how to grow, how to love, how to respect, how to actually feel. I think that every single high school and elementary school should have some type of like psychology class that really actually deal with just this stuff, because I deal with adolescents on a daily basis, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, how do they not know this? But then I'm like, well, you're not taught this. So I think that there should be so many different things that are implemented in our school systems.
Does anybody else want to add to some ideas that they may have that they think we should?
I think there's this concept of, you only learn your academics at school, and then you only learn
how to be a real human.
Yeah, you learn your values or your religion or just being nice to people at home. And so there's this responsibility of the parents to be teaching the children stuff. But, with our education system, at least here in America, typically, the kids would be at school from 7, 8 a.m. up until like 3 p.m. And then sometimes when they come home, their parents would still be at work. And so there's a lot of time spent at school, but not as much time spent with the parents to be teaching them those values. And so it kind of shows like how do we implement that into our school system where that they're more exposed to learning these values on a regular basis and really putting it into practice. So I do think it's both just the learning things within the family, but also learning things obviously within the place that you spend most of your time at.
Classes are mandatory in school, right? If you have a class like gym, right, is mandatory. I think there should be a class that's mandatory, like even if it's like
emotional wellness.
Exactly. Like emotional wellness, mindfulness, something that deals with that. Like I had my niece who's 16 ask me the other day, it's like, I want something like this. I want a space where I can actually discuss my emotions because I don't have that, and it's important for them to actually externalize those things.
Or even in like a health class, because you take care of your body, you take care of your hygiene, but what about your mental health? And so like I think that there's space. It's just there's a social emotional learning component that maybe isn't in the curriculum, because it does it. I think that there is a space for it, if you care about your health, and the health, too, of other people, because it impacts mental health of yourself and another person too.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think what we're seeing in society is evidence of a lack of emotional wellness or mental wellness being taught in schools. For instance, I have two daughters, and my oldest daughter, for instance, once she hit her little sister, and then my wife approached her, stopped her, and then said, "That's not a nice thing to do." And myself, I was trying to think about what I would do if I was in that situation. If I had gotten to my oldest daughter first, I felt like I would have said, you know what, you could have hurt her. You know, the pin that you threw at her, for instance, I forgot what it was. It could pierce her, it could hurt her. And although all of those things are factual, it's just, if I were to say all of those things, I would be 100% right, but I would still be missing a huge part of, this is what it means to be, a human. Like, you're a human being. This is what it means to be decent. This is what it means to be nice to other people. And even with analyzing that myself, I saw in a lot of ways how I have been raised, either through the indoctrination of the school system or whatever the case is. I've been a product of school systems essentially churning out 18-year-old, 19-year-old students in order to go into profession, not to impact the world, not to impact other human beings. So I feel like it's definitely something that needs to be taught in schools. But to the point that you had made, Clylan, that everybody else was speaking about, is because love is so nuanced, the application and the teaching of love could also be nuanced. And although it's difficult, I don't by any means think it's impossible. And I think it's definitely something that we should venture into a little bit deeper in order to save this deprived generation that's coming, after us. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. I think that is a great place for us to kind of wrap up this conversation. I just want to end real quick by giving the Claude Michelle. So she threw it out to me, and the scripture's on my wall, y'all. So I have to read it. I have to read it, and I want to end with that because I believe that the Bible gives a beautiful definition of love. In order for us to kind of centralize what we believe love is, I think it's a great start, to understanding the nuance of it. And it is, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. Love is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. Love is not irritable or resentful. Love does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. That's 1 Corinthians 13:4-8. I just want to thank everybody who's joined in and tuned in and been watching us. Shout out to all of the creatives and all the artists who rocked this little Zoom chat tonight. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? You guys all did your thing. Lastly, I just want to encourage everyone who's watching to make a donation if you can. We are raffling off some dope prizes. I believe there's a writing session, a dance session. There's all types of one-on-one sessions that you could potentially win. So make sure that you donate, and I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your evening.